Welcome into the Common Dad podcast. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I am, of course, joined by Andrew and Mr. 60% of the time. He's here 100% of the time. Ryan, how are we? You're back from your episode and a half hiatus. You were being a good father, whatever that means. You went to a baseball game, right?
I did. Took Matthew to the
And
Marlins.
was it worth it?
Yeah.
What
It
was the final
sucked.
score?
We did not win, but it was a
Okay.
good game.
But what was the score?
I am struggling to remember. No, it was.
Did you even
No,
go?
I did. It was 1-0.
How
think.
and how long?
1-0.
How long was the game?
3-hour
How long
baseball
was it?
game.
It
wasn't-
1-0.
it wasn't
Oh, you're
terribly
lucky for
long.
3 hours.
No, I've got my ballpark app here. We can make the edit. Oh
Jeez.
no,
I guess if it's not on TV,
Oh, we're gonna look
If
it
it's
up.
not
this
on
app
TV, it won't
is
be as
awesome. By
long.
the way, shout out to MLB if you want to send me any other tickets.
oh yeah, we almost got them as a sponsor. Actually, we're working with them.
Our
Very
people
close.
are working with their people.
Of course,
We have an
of course.
exclusive deal.
Well, anyway, Ryan, it is of course fantastic to have you back just before you go on yet another vacation. So anyway,
Family
good to have you
man.
back. So before we jump into tonight's topic, I thought this was over. One of my favorite things, I shouldn't phrase it like that at all, a benefit to the pandemic, not a favorite thing, was that like in public, people stop touching people or like getting close to people, right? Like the 6 feet of separation. I love all those things. I don't like to be,
That didn't happen as much in
well,
Florida.
you can't in Florida. It's,
Yeah,
everybody's
in
just,
Florida, they'd still just
there's
crowd.
nowhere to-
Everybody gets in line, and
there's nowhere to go.
There's no
There's nowhere to
spacing.
go. But at least here, everybody kind of spread out, and it's kind of been like that ever since then, which I love. I don't really like to be around people. So we go to church on a Sunday morning, and I thought this phase of the world was over. And this is weird. We're walking our youngest to the not the daycare, but the childcare for the morning, and we're just walking past this 100% stranger, sees our youngest Emmett, and she just goes, "Oh, look at those chunky legs. Can I squeeze them?" And without waiting for the response, she just reaches out, grabs the baby, squeezes his leg. I was like, oh, okay. Like, does that happen to you guys? That I didn't say anything because I didn't want to make a scene, whatever. Does that happen to you guys, or has happened to you guys? Not you, but your child, I would hope. Nobody's-
Never with a complete stranger.
Not happened to me.
No,
Right?
I would say no.
Not with it. I feel like a complete stranger, that's a little bit over the line, right?
Yeah.
It's eerily similar in my book to the "oh, you're pregnant" belly rub sort of. like,
Yeah.
I didn't say
I
you
don't
could. Yeah,
know
no. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
the
even weirder,
women
though.
in our audience can attest
even
maybe
weirder.
to that a little bit, but it's just a little like
Don't.
I-
Yeah.
I get
That's
it's meant
just-
as a compliment. I appreciate the compliment and the
I don't.
the
Don't
attempt at
touch
being
me.
nice.
I don't. Yeah, like I just.
but learn some social boundaries.
Yeah, I can understand if I know you and you've met my child before, then okay, that's probably fine. Still kind of weird, but whatever. But what if I did that to her? What if I was like, "Look at them chunky legs," and I just reached out and squeezed her chunky leg? How would that go over? I'm probably arrested, right? Or at least taken to the floor.
Pretty close. Pretty close to
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's not gonna go over well. My wife looked back at me and she was like, "Is that normal?" I was
I mean, even
So-
if you were to do that to a small child, that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
gonna go
No,
over well.
that's-
Some weird bearded guy
Yeah.
that you don't know at all in
Yeah.
public just reaching out and touching your kids.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Like
that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna go over well. It's not gonna.
the only person that can get away
Mm-mm.
with that is the old lady, right? It's certainly not the old man.
No.
It's the grandma. It's that only she's got to be like over 60 and super smiley and bright and everything. It's the only yeah, if it would have been a 60-year-old man, like, let me see them chunky legs, I would have had a problem. I think we maybe wouldn't have left the child there for an hour. But yeah, I thought we were past that with the pandemic. I thought we were just done touching strangers, but I guess not. And now we're back to shaking hands on a Sunday morning. I don't want to shake hands on a Sunday morning. It's just I don't like strangers. I don't want any part of it. But anyway, no, I just thought I'd run that past you guys because I wasn't sure if I'm socially, I don't want to say awkward, but I don't really like people. So I didn't know if I was just being weird or if I had an appropriate reaction. Because I didn't know.
No, I don't like people either.
Yeah, they suck. They're horrible. They usually smell, especially there in Florida. Not good. AC's out
Florida's
again,
alright.
by the way. Speaking of smelling, I've just been sitting in my own soup all day. It's been nice.
See, in Florida, they fix it pretty quick.
Yeah.
They're usually pretty good, especially in summer.
Well, they came by and they were like, "Oh, it's low on Freon," and I said, "Oh,
Always.
so it's leaking. So it's leaking because that's how that works." He's like, "No, it was just low." Well,
it's a closed system.
it's closed. It's not like oil or fuel. It doesn't burn. He goes, "No, it's just a little low." Okay, 12 hours later, here we are again, just sweating. So maybe they'll get here this week. Maybe next week. Who knows? I might be dead by next week. So Ryan, cancel your plans.
Told you.
The podcast must go on,
Go
dead or not.
Okay.
go buy a little portable air conditioner. Just keep it for those just in case.
Now, what
I'm
you
gonna
have
have
fans
to.
for?
There's just blowing hot air all over my fat body. It's not
You know,
working. It's
I-
not working.
I hear that 2 box fans will make all of it
Oh,
okay.
I got one. That's right. All right. So yeah, we were in the store the other day and we saw all the back to school stuff. So that's what today's episode is about, is best/worst parts about the kids going back to school. And for me, I vividly remember when I was a little kid going through the store, and that was the worst. It's kind of like as an adult, you get the Sunday scaries, right? You're dreading Monday, like kind of in the afternoon of Sunday. Like as soon as you see that back to school crap in the stores, at least for me, I hated school so much. Like I almost couldn't enjoy the rest of my summer anymore because I knew it was time. We got to go school shopping.
It's like it's a right around the corner.
Yeah, like it was just, and it's freaking everywhere because not only is it not in the stores, it's in the commercials. Like you're watching Nickelodeon as a kid. There's we got back to school stuff, and you're just like, you can't escape it. So it feels like as soon as they start putting that stuff out, for me when I was a little kid, summer was over. Now, as an adult, I love it because I know I'll never ever ever have to go back to school unless I want to, and I don't want to, and I'm not going to. So I love seeing that, knowing I don't have to do that anymore, and I will never have that feeling again walking through the store. So that's probably my top. I love, like, I almost feel like I'm taunting the back to school crap. You know what I mean? Like it has no, well, I have to buy it now, of course, but other than that, I don't have to dread it anymore.
Well,
It's fantastic.
I feel like we have different experiences.
Mhm.
Probably. I
Yeah.
hated school.
I
Yeah.
I didn't hate the back to school stuff that
Oh,
much as a child. I mean, I didn't necessarily love it. I know exactly what you're talking about with that, like Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
dreading work the next day. I don't have that with my current job, but I've had it in previous jobs. Dreading work. It's a horrible feeling, and it ruins the time you have when you're not at work because you're dreading going back to that work.
Exactly.
Um,
It's like the end of a
I
vacation.
don't know that I ever dreaded school that much. My biggest problem with back to school is it's like, now we're going to look at all this stuff that we need to buy
Right.
that we don't need to buy.
For some reason, we have to
I need to buy a new backpack and a new lunchbox. Why? What's wrong with
Why?
the other one that you
Yeah.
have? Absolutely nothing.
Oh.
Yeah, but I want a new one.
We had that conversation
And I need a
last
new
week.
pencil box,
Yeah.
and I need a new this, and I need a new that. And it's like, no, you don't need a new any of this.
No, not at all. But
So
It's
yeah,
it's
there's
the,
something about. Go ahead, Ryan.
It's the shopping list. It's
Yeah.
Drew, to go. It's beyond the kids at this point. At least for my kids, it's like each teacher has a list. The school provides a list of what they need for the school year, and
Yep.
then the teacher adds to that list and
Specifically.
corrects that list. No, I don't just want 8 or a box of 16 crayons. It's got to be a box of 32, and it's got to be Crayola. It can't be Art Mark
Yeah.
or whatever that.
Can't
right?
we just buy them as we need them? I don't.
it's got to be 32, and then you go to the store and you see like the 28 pack,
Oh,
and then
man.
the 160
Oh, my
pack.
It's got to be this.
And you're like,
specific
where's the
eraser.
32 that the teacher is looking for?
It's got to be.
I
3 glue
remember-
Doesn't
sticks
exist.
that are the purple
Oh,
glue
yeah.
sticks.
Oh yeah, which didn't work ever. Actually, nothing ever
I
stuck.
don't think glue sticks ever
No,
worked.
they did not. They did not. I remember that like a big flex going back to school if you had the biggest box of crayons with the crayon sharpener in the back.
On the
Like you
back,
had
the
all. Oh
64.
man,
That was
Yeah.
a 64
that
pack of the
was
128.
yeah. You just look around at your other peasant classmates with the small boxes.
You certainly need 7 different shades of
Oh,
brown when you
absolutely.
go
Right.
Yeah,
coloring.
because we do so much
Absolutely.
coloring in 5th grade. And we're just coloring all the time. Yeah, the back to school is not great at all. I
No, it
also
was the
had
binders. It was the binders in high school.
oh
When I was that was
yep
if you had the cool binder, forget
Trapper Keeper.
elementary school
Nope,
was
I
the
hated Trapper
crayons, but when you
Keepers.
hit middle school, high
Oh
school, it was the binder. You had that and 5 Star. You guys
oh
remember
yeah, yeah.
5 Star was the name brand. That's
Mhm.
premium.
It's all fun and
You're getting
games
good
till that
notebooks.
zipper breaks, and then school year's done. You
Right.
can't do anything after that. You drop it; it's all
Absolutely.
over the place. Did you guys have the cool folders that had like the crazy pictures on them, and they were the brand of them was No Fear? Do you remember that?
I
And they would
remember
have
No
like
Fear.
No.
I didn't
an
get those.
alien jumping a lava flow.
I
Do
remember
you know what I'm
that.
talking
No,
about? Yeah, like those.
yeah, I've seen those. I don't think I ever had them.
Oh man, I had to get them all. I had to be the
No
edgiest
Fear.
kid with my No Fear folder, so I could put the homework in it that I didn't do. It was great. No fear, teacher.
No
Give me a bad
Fear.
grade. Doesn't matter. Yeah, the Trapper Keeper though. You're right, Ryan. That was or not the
See,
the
I
was it,
feel like,
was
and
Trapper
I don't know
Keeper a
what it was.
brand?
We missed the Trapper. I never got a Trapper Keeper. 5 Star
I
had
remember
like
Yeah, I
a
didn't
binder,
either.
zippered binder that had
Yeah.
planner, and you could put like pencils and erasers, and it had a like if you had the built-in calculator, you still had to get like
Oh
the
yeah.
fancy calculator separate. But if it had an extra one
Sure.
built in, like
Oof. You could calculate whenever you needed, just at the drop of a hat.
I remember in elementary school too, like I thought I was clever. There was an age, I forget, maybe third or fourth grade, that I thought I was clever by saying, "Oh, we're going back to school. By the way, I need a new watch. Can I get that calculator watch?" Did you guys ever see those little calculator like I was like, I'm gonna be
yes,
Oh yeah.
I'm
and
gonna be slick during a
couldn't.
test, and
They'll never see me. Just
3
dial
plus
that
5.
in. Yeah,
Beep, beep, beep,
I'm just
beep,
checking the time.
I'm
Yeah,
just seeing how much time we have left for this test.
yeah. And the buttons were so small you could never
You
just touch
couldn't,
one.
no.
Absolutely impossible using your pencil. No, that was the worst. I had as an adult one of the worst things is, and it drives me crazy just because of the time, but the dropping and the picking up. I don't know how
Mm.
your kids' schools are, but our drop off is like 9 a.m. and they really didn't give us any leeway. You can't drop off early or late, and then pickup time is like, at least for them, they were pre-K, so it was like 1 o'clock. But at 9 a.m. is when 90% of America is going to work, and
Or already
we're
at
already
work.
at work. Yeah, exactly. Usually not. At least if you're on the East Coast, like after 9 o'clock, you're going to or you're at work. And this school we had last year had no. You couldn't like. I'll pay more if I could drop them off earlier. Like that's fine. They were like, nope, it has to be in it. They gave us a 10-minute window, and it was just the most inconvenient. You try. So you,
Well,
yeah, I hated that. The worst.
so you've transited. I mean, so we're, Alex was in a private school last year. There was a little bit of flexibility, and it was earlier than your 9 o'clock. I think it was at 8 o'clock, and you could get there a little bit earlier. But where we are, and some of this was our own choice, it was easily a 1 hour trip for us to drive
Oh.
there, wait in the line to drop him off, and then drive home. That's a long time.
Yeah, that's 2 hours
And I
of
think
your
the
day.
other thing that back to school brings that most people just absolutely dread is the school zones on the way to and from work. The school zones having to slow down. I mean, look, obviously you're doing it for a good reason. Don't need to go 60 miles an hour through a school zone, but like I remember there were times where I would have to go through 3 or 4 school zones to get to and from
That's a
work.
good
And
point.
it's like a 30-minute difference if you leave work in the summer versus leaving work during a school day.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it on the holidays too. On the days where there was no school, you would see all of a sudden traffic is like not moving, and you get to work early and you're like, what happened? Oh, it's this, special Jewish holiday or this holiday or that holiday, and it's oh, that's why I got to work so much faster. There was no school zones on the way to work.
You're
Yeah.
hitting my number one. This is my number one worst part of back to school is traffic. You can
Yeah.
absolutely
Yep.
tell the difference if you're in summer versus school year with traffic, whether or not there's school zones, because of lines and because of drop-offs and because of everything else. You absolutely are hitting the nail on the head, Drew. And people go around school zones, so even if you don't go through a school zone, there's everybody else avoiding
Right.
the school zone. And no,
And they're there too.
especially in South Florida, it is traffic. There is no way
And
around it.
Mhm.
God forbid you get stuck behind a bus dropping or picking up kids, and there's no like. At least in Florida, you usually have a lot of different. It's a grid, so you have a lot of different ways you can go around. But like here in Georgia, if you get stuck behind a bus, like
Good luck.
you're just on that road now. Like that's it. that's all you can do.
Yeah, you're stuck behind.
And you
them.
can't pass them because they throw out the little stop sign.
In Florida, you usually can get by them decently quick. I mean, every major road is at least 2 lanes each direction, and
Yeah, that's true.
you can get them in between the stops. You can get around them and whatnot.
Now I will say
The biggest annoyance I have is when a bus stops. So like we have laws in Florida where like if the median is I think the law, and I'm sure our fans can quote me on this, if the median is over 6 feet
then
wide
you can pass.
and the bus stops on the opposite direction
That makes sense.
than you're going,
Yeah.
then you don't need to stop.
Right. You can just
The
go.
kids aren't crossing a 6-lane highway, like but
Run!
you always find those people that don't know the laws and they stop just because they see a bus.
Right.
The stop sign's not even out and they're stopping all the traffic
slowing down
and
at
you're
the very
late
least to see-
and
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Now, but if you
knowing
don't, if
the
you don't
traffic
know the
laws-
law, probably just err on the side of caution. I see a stop sign with children, but I'm probably good. I should be fine.
if it's out,
Yeah.
I could understand
It's
that.
just, like,
It
if
bothers me when people stop and there's
yeah, if you have a little hesitation there,
it bothers me when they stop and there's no stop sign.
Yeah.
They don't put the signs out, but people stop anyways.
that's true. Now, let's be honest, most of this is bad. Going back to school sucks for the most part for the kids. But one of the best part, I remember when I was a kid, as a parent, the shopping list sucks. Getting all the clothes, the supply sucks. But as a kid, showing up to that first day of school in the best outfit you think you had, with new shoes, new shirt, oh my gosh, that was like, it's like a mini fashion show on the first day of school. Like everybody's kind of looking around, like, all right, what did we do? What did we do over the summer? How's everybody looking? And then the move, I remember, if you had like a crush in class, and if she was seated
boy.
properly to the
Here we
to the
go.
pencil sharpener, right? You get up
Take notes.
and you get up and you just let her recognize the Old Navy fit.
Do classrooms
Absolutely.
still have those?
I doubt it. There's
I
no
don't
way.
think
Well,
so.
why not? Why
It-
not?
I had that just
Because everybody's got a pencil sharpener in their backpack now.
because you guys keep me on this podcast.
Or they're all
for
using
my,
mechanical pencils.
my side
or-
stories and my history lessons here.
I was all about the mechanical pencils.
I learned in middle school that it is impossible to use that pencil sharpener without shaking your rear end. So I never used it after that.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
impossible. And some kid told me that in like 5th grade or something like that, or 6th grade, and I never
can't
used it
unlearn
again
that.
because I was like,
Yeah.
because I tried to go do it once, and you try to freeze, and you're like, you still wind up like as you're cranking,
Can't- Yeah.
you can't not
You just
do
gyrating.
it. So
Yeah.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah.
yeah,
That's a
no,
good.
So
I never crossed. I'm glad I didn't know that. I was a very self-conscious child. I was just up there.
yeah. Now, but
shaking
is this
in
what
front of the
your
whole
best
class.
part of going back to school was, or your kids? Like as a parent, your favorite
J-
part of
it-
your
it-
kids going back to school?
I mean, it is nice to see the kids get out looking fresh. I'm not gonna lie. I do enjoy that. They're looking good.
The sharp looking
Yeah,
outfit.
and then in a
hold on,
week,
because I've got
The
I've got a
towel's
question
thrown
for you.
in. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't smell, it's clean. Put it on. Let's go.
You get them ready the same way you're talking about your first day of school. So
Yeah.
you do the little picture with today's my first day of
Yeah, we do.
first
yeah, we do the whole
grade.
deal.
My favorite actor
Mhm.
is I want to be this when I grow up. I am 6 years old.
I don't know about all that. We do the first day sign, but yeah,
We
I
do.
got you.
So all right. So you do that, and they're dressed to the nines. They're looking sharp.
Oh yeah.
My
yeah.
question to you is, how do they come home from school that first day of school?
Oh, rough. It's not good.
Right.
It reminds me of, I remember being in college, and when the weather was right, there was plenty of day drinking to be had. And it'd be a Thursday, Friday afternoon. You just had your last class. Hey, there's a party over here. You put on a nice shirt, whatever. You go over and you're looking good. But by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, no, you're looking. You've, you've been through the ringer, and that's what they come home. There's normally some crayon or some lunch on the shirt, and the shoes have been through recess. There's a stain on the shorts. Yeah, it doesn't last for very long. That's true.
And you guys have all boys.
that
At least have
doesn't
Caitlin.
Yeah,
that doesn't bother me so much the way they come home. My problem is like by the time you get to like the second week or third week, that all has worn off.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you get to school and it's like, oh, I forgot this and I forgot that, and we didn't pack the backpack. Oh, I forgot your lunch, and
you had a big
we got to
breakfast.
turn around. We
It's
got to go
fine.
home. We got to do this. Like you've already forgotten everything that they need, and now you're turning
Now
around,
you're
going
done.
home, picking up all of that stuff. You're running even more late now
Yeah.
than you were previously.
Yeah, that's
It's a
true.
whole frantic mess.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's a nightmare. You normally have it together for like the first week. It's kind of like a football game. You've got your first 100 plays scripted out. After you get off script, you're just trying to make it to the
You're
next
hanging
break.
on. You're hanging
That's
on.
all
You're
you're doing.
surviving.
When's Christmas break? When is spring break? What do we got to do? What do we got to do to get there? Let's just
The countdown to the end of the school year starts 2 weeks in.
pretty much. It gets there quick. You definitely look at the calendar.
Now,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was
Go
gonna move on to another negative thing because I'm a negative person. And
Well, let me throw a positive in,
okay.
and then you can go with your negative.
I've got a list. I've got
So-
4 more negatives. So by all means,
What's one thing that happened in the working community as a result of COVID?
I'm working from
Remote
home.
Justin, you're experiencing
working
this
from
now. Yeah, I work from home.
I'm in my work office as we
What's a
speak.
great thing about back to school when you work from home?
That's
You don't
quiet.
have the kids at home anymore.
You're right.
Oh my goodness.
It is beautiful.
The number of times they come into the office, or they need this, or can I get a snack? Got to make lunch, do this, do that. Like it's interruptions all day long over the summer.
And they look at you because you're on the phone. I'm on the phone, and they look at you like it's a whole new. Huh? You're doing what? I'm doing the same thing I'm doing every day. The same thing.
Every single
And they're
day.
just like, and you'll do the I'm on the phone, and they're like, oh, okay. Well, can I? And they just keep. I'm on the
They just
phone.
keep going.
To be fair, adults
So, yeah,
adults
back to
do that
school-
too. I'm on the phone. Oh, okay. Well, just
Yeah.
one thing. No, the only reason I have this phone in
Your
my
thing
hand
is not more
is to talk
important.
to somebody. That's it. That's the only reason I have it on my face. Like, sorry, I'm losing my cool. Go ahead.
So the positive thing here, kids back to school means quiet houses.
Yes.
A little bit of calm at home during work. You know, certainly working from home, it's much nicer during the summer or during the school year when they're not around.
You're
And then
you're
they-
hitting
At least
a
for most of the day.
huge point because it matters. Because that would not impact me at all, but I could see how if I worked remotely from home, abso-freaking-lutely, it would make a huge difference.
And it's kind of refreshing because I will say it is quiet, but it can get. We have 3 now, and it's chaotic. Don't get me wrong, but you kind of get used to the chaos, and it's kind of fun. You get used to the noise. So when they're
But the
gone,
amount of noise they
it's
make.
because how they just keep talking, and pooping and peeing and just.
It's not even that. It's the
just-
throwing the balls.
It's
and the
everything.
running the cars up and down the
It's
walls.
everything.
And
Interruptions.
bottle flipping on the door
It's
to the
everything.
office. And
It's all the things. It's my other one was kicking the door down. I locked the door, and he's just kicking it.
Mhm.
Like, dude.
actually, once in.
What's the best case scenario here? You kick the door down? That's okay. Anyway, but when they get home after the quiet house, like I am mentally prepared to like fully, let's play. You know what I mean? Like I'm recharged. I'm
You're ready
refreshed.
to engage.
But when they're here all day long and I'm hearing them upstairs screaming and carrying on, like I get off work, I'm like, I just want to go upstairs. I'm like, shut up. I've been listening to you all day. Like, but when they're at school, like I'm ready. Like it's a lot easier to get into play mode when they're not there all day. But yeah, a quiet house is
All right, what's your negative now?
Well,
Now that we've had a
which
positive.
one? But I'll go. And this goes back to the I don't want to talk to people thing. The kids always find friends, which is great. I love that they find friends. And then my wife is Miss Outgoing, and she's like, "Oh, we should schedule a play date." Now I got to talk to people. Now I got to go, and every now and then it works out. Every now and then it's fine. I actually met a really really good friend that of Elijah's classmate, and we are actually like solid friends. But 9 times out of 10, these people are weird, and you're at their house or they're at your house, worst case scenario, which means you can't control when they leave unless you tell them to leave. And it's I don't want to meet new people, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna smile. I'm gonna be happy to be there. So that's my negative on that one. I got plenty more, but I'm not looking forward to meeting new parents just because my kid made a
See,
friend.
now I'm going to spin that to a positive because I haven't listed any positives myself here, but we don't do a whole lot of the play dates, I guess,
Good for you.
as a straight up play date because Matthew has baseball, Katie has dance, and we're so involved in that stuff. We don't really have. I mean, they're doing something after school every day, and with all the iReady and homework that they're given, like when they get home from school, it's homework and extracurriculars and cram, and so like the time for play dates is relatively small, but you can tell the difference in some of the friends that they are making. They're making good friends. They're learning how to interact in different social interactions and how not to be jerks, like we've talked about in previous
Yeah,
podcasts and stuff like that. And them getting to see their friends, um, you see a different personality in the kids. They're
absolutely.
different little people. They're much happier
Hmm.
um, and getting back to some of those extracurriculars and things like that too, kind of help get out some of that social energy so that when they come home and you have them in the evening, it's a lot less trouble to get them down for bed. The time spent is a little bit
Yes.
more quality when it's like to your point, Justin, it's a little more quality time when you spend time with them. So the back to school definitely has that. They get to see their friends a little bit more often than
Yeah,
because
they're
Matthew
definitely
and
more
Kate, they don't
well
have any
behaved.
friends
That's a
that
good
live
point.
on the block, like across the
Yeah.
street where they're going to see them every day, all day summer. So
Yeah, that's true. They usually come home a lot more tired than they would be on a normal
Mhm.
3 p.m. in the middle of the day. They've gotten up early, they've been engaged all day long. They've if the weather was good, they've gone outside, they've had recess.
Playgrounds.
Yeah, like that's
yep, they burnt some
I for
energy.
sure noticed that. Yeah. I mean, right now they're every now and a lot of days, not a lot of days, but about half the week, you just throw in the towel and you want to watch TV, just whatever makes you be quiet while I'm working, just do that.
And yet
And
yet
then,
ultimately at the end of that, they're always worse behaved.
oh yeah, they're wound
You
up.
let them watch 3 hours of
Oh my
TV, and
gosh.
they are not gonna behave well after
Exactly.
that
No.
at
The
all.
energy
Like,
doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't dissipate. It just builds. Like it doesn't. Yeah.
But
That's
but
that's
it
true.
always comes out, like, angry.
yeah.
But that's where it's a
Like,
Yeah.
double-edged sword
they
because
hate their brothers after that.
They just
it's
want to punch
it's
somebody.
it's a double-edged sword, and this led me into one of my other negatives in that our schedule changes, right? Because I get up an hour and a half earlier, make coffee,
Hmm.
make sure they get dressed, make sure they get to school on time, get back through that traffic, make sure that I'm ready to go to work, get through that traffic to work. But then Yanni and I have to make sure that we pick them up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And what's worse, this past year, we're finally into a year that they're at the same time. But Matthew ended school at 2 o'clock and Katie ended school at 3 o'clock. So
Oh.
figure out those pickup times for the
Yeah,
last
that
2 years.
sucks.
That sucks, right? You get out of one
Somebody's got to
line
walk
and
home.
you get back in the line again on the other end of the school for the other kid. So it was, and then it's the extracurriculars and you are running nonstop.
Yeah, no, those pickup times don't.
Think about it harder.
Those pickup times make no sense. We should. We'll definitely have somebody on, a teacher on, so we can ask them about that. Blame them specifically. Um, the very last thing I have, and it's a quick one, is I'm just not looking forward to helping these kids with the homework. Not because it's
Oh
the
gosh,
home
the
the
homework.
homework itself isn't difficult, but the struggle, the crying. So far my kids hate to do
I
homework like I
so
hated to, and it's not fun.
I'm with you with that, and I'm gonna jump in here because I want to interrupt Ryan and get to the
Sure.
point before he can get to it. That way, I can steal it from
Do
him.
it.
And that is, I don't understand the instructions on half of these
Oh, that's not
assignments.
my go.
I read these like instructions,
Yeah.
and I look at the actual like diagrams or things, and they're supposed to fill in the blocks or whatever the activity sheet is. I don't even know what to do on this thing. Like on 90% of the worksheets, they're super clear, super
Yeah.
concise, super obvious what they're supposed to do. It's super easy. And then there's always that one question that doesn't make any sense at all.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're missing half of the equation, and it's supposed to be something in the classroom where the teacher is guiding them and giving them something, and you're reading this and it's just, I don't know how to answer
You have
this.
to,
I'm
you
sorry,
have to, like,
but
act
like
out
you're
the
on your own.
question.
Go figure
Yeah.
it out. You're gonna get this one wrong for
Yeah.
sure.
It's like, well, you look at how many. Look, there's 10 questions on here. I feel good about 7. If you miss this one, 60%, that's fine. It's not bad. We'll take it. We'll take a
But
stab at it. Maybe we get it 70.
how
Give it a
often are they
shot.
actually graded on their homework like that, though? 10 questions,
Yeah,
you
at
got
that
8
age.
of them
Yeah,
right. They're not at this
probably
age
not.
at
True.
all. So
But
so for me, it's not the difficulty of the homework, because Drew, I run into those, and you're absolutely right. I guarantee, and it's a math guaranteed. There will be a math problem, and I'm the math guy. I'm the numbers guy in the family, right? Yanni handles the reading stuff.
I'll be calling
The
you.
kids come to me for math, and I look at it, and with and I figured out Common Core. So any of those that need help, you can see me.
Oh,
I
you did?
finally kind of figured out
Didn't they do away with
how
that
to
now?
explain. Some
I
schools
think they
have,
did
and
away
most of
with that.
Katie and Matthew's teachers have. But I
We're
figured
gonna
it
do a
out
new
prior.
channel with you explaining that for parents.
Go for it.
It'll
I'm
blow
down
up.
to take it on. But the problem is not the problems, because I get to that point where I'm like, you know what, just put down your best answer. At the end of the day, they're grading that you do the homework, not that you get it right. You're
Yeah,
in
it doesn't
first
matter.
grade. Like,
Yeah, right.
let's move on. It's the fact that my kids, and I don't know about your situation, both my kids have a homework packet that they take home every week that has to be completed. It's anywhere from 4 to 5 pages,
Jeez.
double-sided. So this is 8 to 10 pages of homework
Yep.
that needs to be completed throughout the week, and it's labeled. So one is done Monday, one is done Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Okay.
Yep.
and then there's
We did that last year.
a
Yep.
spelling test and a vocabulary on the first page that they have a test on Friday. It needs to be completed and turned in by the following Monday, where they get a new packet. In addition, they have to do at least 45 minutes of iReady, which is like a computer-based learning
Quiz.
thing, and they have to do 45 minutes in reading and
Jeez.
45 minutes in math. So this is an additional hour and a half they have to do. Now Matthew in first grade, that's it for him. He's going into second grade. In second grade, they add something else called IXL, which is a math supplement that's a little bit less games oriented and more actually math skills oriented. And they have to complete certain lessons, and those lessons they usually have like 3 or 4 lessons a week. And those lessons take anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes per lesson. So if you have 4 lessons, 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes a lesson, that's another 45 minutes to an hour. So now you're at like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 4 or 5 hours worth of
That's a
homework
lot.
easy throughout the week.
Right. Yeah. And do all
And
those.
you want them involved in
other
extracurriculars.
things
And by
while
the
you're
time
at
they
it.
get to middle school, they're supposed
Jeez.
volunteer
Yeah, that's a lot.
hours and
Yeah.
no way. And they got to go to
That's too
bed at a
much.
reasonable time. And no, it is unbelievable the
that's a
amount of
lot.
homework that they get.
Yeah. I think
And it's just,
I'm not there yet.
it's
'cause
so much.
We're starting. Yeah.
And yet,
No.
by the time they
no.
graduate,
It's
they
not
still
needed.
won't know how to do their
It's
taxes.
not needed.
Or balance a checkbook.
Well, does anybody have
No.
checkbooks nowadays? I get that. I agree with you
No, yeah, the
in
app
principle on that, but I
balances
don't. I
the
think the days of checkbooks are gone.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll make a
create a budget.
Yeah.
I'm the finance guy.
But yes, budgeting, finances.
They're not going to know how to file their
any of that.
taxes or
They don't
create a
know how to do
budget.
that.
They're not going to know a thing about investing or retirement. They're not going to know about
Don't need it.
life insurance or
fine.
health insurance or
Scams.
as high
Scams.
school kids.
Yeah. It's all scams. There's people trying to take your money. That's all it is, kid. You learn about cosine and tangent. Anyway,
They can learn about that from TikTok.
this has been another episode.
Don't learn.
No,
don't learn
probably-
investment
probably
lessons
not
from
a good-
Bitcoin.
Probably not good. Probably not good. The last and very last is actually a positive. and it's from the kids' perspectives going back to school. There was nothing better than going to that first week of school or whatever and finding your first, no, I'm sorry, not your first, your this year's first new crush.
It's a hard
That's
lesson to
going in.
learn.
Now, I never talked to this girl the entire year. Won't even let her know I exist.
You just creepily stared at her from the back of the
That's all.
classroom.
That's all. I'm shaking my butt as I'm sharpening my pencil. But yeah, that was one of the best. Always look forward to that. Who am I not going to talk to this year? Can't wait. Absolutely. Well,
Do you remember her name today?
which one?
Any of them
First
Which grade?
crush I
Pick a grade.
remember
that you didn't talk to?
that I didn't talk to.
Not the first
Boy.
girlfriend or whatever. The first girl that you had a crush on but didn't talk to.
I want to say in second or third grade, there was a girl named Lindsay, maybe.
get
I
on.
don't know. It's fuzzy.
We're gonna have to get
It's
the people
fuzzy.
to get out there
And
and
I
find her,
feel a little-
and we need her
feel
on
a
the
little-
podcast.
That's right. I feel a little weird talking about little girls too, even though she's my age now. I don't like it.
She's
not a
little girl
comfortable
anymore,
feeling.
bud.
I don't. I just don't like it. I don't like it. But yeah, it's a good first week of school there. Anyway, boys and girls, thank you so much for listening. This has been another episode of the Common Dad Podcast. Ryan, thank you so much for being a special guest yet again. We always appreciate it. No, of course, if you haven't already, go onto Instagram, follow, like, subscribe. Facebook, follow, like. You can't subscribe on Facebook, but type it in the comment. We'll appreciate it. Doesn't matter. But you can subscribe on our brand new YouTube channel. You can see our beautiful faces. Subscribe. Hit the alert button every time we post a new video. And they're not always all full videos. They're bloopers or whatever. All sorts of fun stuff. It's good stuff. So go on there. He doesn't.
Andrew
He
doesn't
sometimes
always
he
wear
wears
sunglasses
I
nothing.
have
in
a
his
light
So-
right in front of my face, so it's kind of
Sometimes Andrew's.
You also
opening
can't
his-
tell if I'm sleeping or not. So
That's right. And if you want to see more Andrew, go to his OnlyFans and you can see as much
Exactly.
as you want. So, he does a tier-based subscription there.
I
But
cross it every
Here's
time.
the line.
let
you
me, if you pay enough, he
it.
will. But anyway,
I'm cheap.
yeah, he's not associated with the Common Dad and on his OnlyFans, but we're trying to get him as a sponsor. He's doing real good work there. Real good work. But anyway,
Only dads.
and
Only dads?
Let's wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of the Common Dad Podcast. Let us know if you liked the video by giving us a thumbs up. Even if you didn't, give it a thumbs up anyway. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell to get notifications every time we post a new video. Also, do not forget to follow us on Instagram at @the_common_dad and on Facebook at The Common Dad so you can let us know your thoughts on today's episode.